Okay, so sustainable living, right? I feel like sometimes it's this huge to-do list that's just overwhelming.
I know what you mean.
It can be hard to know where to even start, but that's not what we're about.
Not at all.
We're not about guilt or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's about giving you the tools and the information to actually make a difference.
Exactly. Yes.
So we're going to take a deep dive into these articles and notes that you shared about eco-friendly homes.
Yeah.
We're looking for those light bulb moments.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we found some really interesting stuff in here. Things that make sustainable living seem achievable, even exciting.
Yeah.
You know, one of these sources actually mentions a technology.
Ooh.
That sounds straight out of the future, but we'll get to that.
Okay, you've really got me hooked now.
I know, right?
All right, let's start with something we all deal with every day. Trash.
Right.
This source jumps right into waste reduction and how important it is.
Yeah.
And they have this really interesting suggestion.
Okay.
They say, track your trash for a week. Like, make a little personal garbage documentary
That's a great way to put it.
to see where you can make the biggest impact.
It's amazing what you learn.
Yeah, and it's not just about reducing blindly.
Oh, no.
This source talks about the zero waste mindset.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about reaching zero waste perfectly.
Right.
It's about changing how you think about waste in every part of your life.
Exactly. It's about making conscious decisions and asking yourself questions like, do I really need this? Or is there a better option that creates less waste?
I like that. And the source gives some really practical shopping tips, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like buying in bulk to cut down on all that packaging.
Yeah, less packaging is always good.
Definitely. And reusable bags are key, of course.
Always going to have those reusable bags.
Right. But what about the things you can't avoid? I found their take on composting really interesting.
Yeah, composting's great.
They even have ideas for people living in apartments.
Oh, that's cool.
Like small composting bins or maybe community composting programs.
It's so important, and it's often overlooked, but it makes such a difference.
It does, and you get great soil out of it, too.
Exactly. Win-win.
So we've faced the trash monster now. Let's move on to something a little brighter.
Okay.
The power of the sun. This source is all about solar energy.
It's interesting because they acknowledge that solar panels might not be for everyone right now.
Yeah, not everyone can put solar panels on their roof.
But they talk about how much more accessible the technology has become.
That's true.
And how even small-scale solar can still make an impact.
Absolutely. And I love that they highlight all these cool solar-powered gadgets.
Like what?
Solar phone chargers, solar garden lights. You can get a little taste of solar living.
That's a good way to start.
Without committing to a whole roof full of panels.
Right. Start small and see how you like it.
And speaking of innovation, one of these sources talks about a new way to get water.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like science fiction.
This might be that futuristic tech I was talking about.
No, tell me more. I'm on the edge of my seat.
It's called the air fountain. And get this.
Yeah.
It pulls moisture straight from the air to make clean drinking water.
Seriously?
Yeah, the source says it has amazing potential.
Wow.
Especially for places where water is scarce. Imagine having your own water source.
That would be life-changing.
Right. No matter what the weather's like.
Okay, that is seriously impressive. But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Right.
The source also covers those tried and true water-saving tips, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those are still so important.
Right.
Low-flow shower heads and faucets, rainwater harvesting, and of course...
fixing those leaky faucets.
So important. And it saves you money, too.
It's like throwing money down the drain.
Literally.
Now let's switch gears for a minute and think about your house.
Okay.
As a superhero fighting climate change.
I love that.
By using less energy.
Awesome.
This source is all about turning your home into an energy-saving machine.
Sounds like a cool mission.
And they focus on the role of smart home technology.
That makes sense.
They mention things like programmable thermostats and energy monitors.
Yeah, those can be really helpful.
But I was surprised they also highlighted something as simple as using curtains and blinds strategically.
Oh, yeah, that could make a big difference.
It's like natural temperature control.
It is.
Yeah.
In the winter, you open the curtains to let the sun warm up your house.
And in the summer, you close them to keep the heat out.
It's such a simple thing, but it really works.
And it's all about thinking about energy in a more holistic way.
I like that.
We're uncovering these hidden energy-saving superpowers in our homes.
We are.
And speaking of uncovering potential, the The source goes beyond just tech and gadgets.
Okay.
It talks about sustainable consumption and how our everyday choices have a big impact.
This is where things get really interesting.
It challenges us to think about what we're buying and how it affects the environment.
Absolutely.
It's about choosing quality over quantity.
Buying local whenever possible.
And considering the entire life of a product before you bring it home. It's like giving your lifestyle a sustainability makeover.
I love that phrase.
From the clothes you wear to the food you eat.
They even talk about supporting local farms and choosing organic produce.
Yeah. And that brings us right back to composting.
Full circle.
It's amazing how all these pieces of sustainable living start to connect and reinforce each other.
It's like a web of choices.
And even small changes can make a difference.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps.
This is fascinating stuff, but I think we've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have.
Maybe we should take a quick break.
Good idea. Let's let all this information sink in for a minute.
We'll be right back to dive even deeper into the world of sustainable living at home.
Can't wait. Okay, so we're back and ready to keep exploring.
Yeah, this is really interesting stuff.
It is. And before the break, we were talking about sustainable consumption, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is where we see how much our daily choices really matter.
You know, one thing that really stood out to me in the source was this idea of buying less stuff, but buying better stuff.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
It's like a shift in mindset from quantity to quality.
Right. It's about investing in things that are made well and will last a long time.
Instead of getting caught up in trends and all those disposable products.
Exactly. Think about those things you've had for years.
Yeah.
The ones that have really stood the test of time.
I know what you mean.
They usually have a story behind them.
Yeah.
You know, a sense of quality that goes beyond just being trendy.
Yeah. And it's not just about buying new things either.
No.
The source also talked about repairing things before you throw them away.
Oh, I love that.
There's a real art to that.
Yeah, it's so empowering to fix something yourself.
It is.
And it keeps things out of landfills.
Right. And it's usually cheaper than buying a brand new replacement.
Exactly. So good for your wallet and good for the planet.
It's a win-win.
Totally. And if you do need to get rid of something,
yeah,
the source reminds us to think about donating or recycling.
Give those items a second life.
Exactly. There are so many creative ways to repurpose things or find them new homes.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about another area where our choices have a huge impact. Food.
Yes, food is so important.
This source gets into how our diet affects the environment.
Yeah, this big factor.
And they suggest exploring a more plant-based approach.
Which makes sense.
I've been trying to eat more plant-based meals myself.
Good for you.
But I have to admit, I love a good barbecue.
Yeah, who doesn't?
It's hard to give that up completely. Did the source have any tips for making those kinds of meals more sustainable?
They do, actually.
Okay.
One suggestion is to get your meat from local farms.
Okay.
That prioritize sustainable practices.
That makes sense.
And another idea is to just reduce your portion sizes.
Okay.
And add more plant-based sides to your plate. You can still enjoy those barbecue favorites.
Yeah.
But maybe make them more of a special occasion thing.
I like that it's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
And it's not about being vegan or vegetarian if that's not for you.
Right.
Even small changes can make a difference.
Like swapping out a beef burger for a veggie burger once a week.
Exactly. Every little bit helps.
And the source really emphasizes that this isn't about depriving yourself.
No.
There are so many delicious plant-based recipes out there.
I'm discovering that.
It's a chance to try new ingredients, new flavors, new cuisines.
I love that it's about expanding your options, not limiting them.
Exactly.
And the source also talked about supporting local farmers.
Yes.
And choosing organic produce whenever possible.
It's all connected.
They mentioned something about transportation, too.
They did. Buying local reduces how far your food has to travel.
Okay.
Which means fewer emissions from trucks and planes.
That makes sense.
And organic farming is generally better for the environment.
And the soil.
It's about choosing food that's good for you and good for the planet.
I've noticed more and more farmers markets popping up.
Yeah, they're great.
It's a great way to connect with the people who are growing your food.
And get those fresh, seasonal ingredients.
And let me tell you, those vine-ripened tomatoes taste so much better.
They really do. There's something special about knowing where your food comes from.
Okay, so we've tackled trash, harnessed the power of the sun, explored water solutions.
Turned our homes into energy-saving superheroes.
And given our lifestyles a sustainability makeover, I'm sensing a theme here.
What's that?
It's like we're peeling back the layers of our daily lives and finding all these opportunities to make more sustainable choices.
I love that. And it's not about being perfect.
No.
Or having all the answers.
It's about being open to learning, trying new things, and making progress.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Not a destination.
And what I find so inspiring is that even small changes can have a ripple effect.
Absolutely. You inspire those around you.
And create a wave of positive change.
That's a powerful thought. Every sustainable choice we make is like a vote for a healthier planet.
And those votes add up.
They do. Okay, so we've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have.
Maybe we should take another quick pause.
Yeah, let's regroup.
Before we wrap things up.
Okay, so we're back. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired.
Me too. It's amazing how much we've covered.
Yeah, and it's really striking me that this whole sustainable living thing doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming change.
Yeah, I agree. The sources we looked at really emphasize that it's more about making small, consistent changes
than trying to be perfect overnight.
Right. It's not about living off the grid or anything like that.
Yeah, it's about finding what works for you and making it a part of your daily life.
And finding ways to actually enjoy it, too.
Exactly. Those little victories along the way keep you going.
Yeah, like those moments when you realize, hey, this isn't so hard after all.
Like choosing a reusable water bottle instead of a plastic one.
Or buying that energy-efficient appliance, even though it's a little more expensive.
Or just remembering to turn off the lights when you leave a room.
Those little things might not seem like much on their own.
But they add up over time.
They really do. And what's really exciting is that things are changing so quickly.
Yeah, remember that air fountain system?
Oh, yeah. That was mind-blowing.
It feels like we're on the cusp of some real breakthroughs in sustainability.
Totally. And the more people get on board with these ideas, the faster things will change.
It's like a chain reaction starting with our own individual choices.
So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a question, something to think about.
Right, I'm listening.
What's one thing you can change about your shopping habits today to make them just a little bit more sustainable?
That's a great question, and it could be something really small.
Yeah, like choosing products with less packaging or looking for brands that are committed to sustainability.
Or making a point of supporting those local businesses.
Whatever it is, just remember that every step you take, no matter how small it seems,
makes a difference
for the planet.
And that's pretty amazing to think about.
It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into sustainable living at home.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.